Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Max and welcome to another video on Ryzen from Media Search Program. As you can see, Ryzen news is everywhere and we're excited to see what's new, so stay tuned. In today's video, I will be discussing news surrounding Ryzen 5, which includes different variations, the costs, and discussing about the recently released video that AMD provided us to give us a sneak peek of the Ryzen 5 family lineup. I will also be talking more about the Ryzen 7 issues such as gaming performance and memory speeds, but not too much, just briefly. What I'll do now is I'll quickly show you the Ryzen 5 on-shelf worldwide April 11 slide that shows the different variations, the costs, and the models that are going to be coming out on April 11th worldwide. So to begin with, we have for $249 USD, the Ryzen 5 1600X, which will be 6 cores, 12 threads, a base of 3.6 GHz, and a boost of 4 GHz. It'll also feature a 16 MB L3 cache with as well 95 watt TDP. As for the 1600X, you'll also need your own custom cooler aftermarket for it. It will not come with a stock cooler according to online sources. I'll show you those coolers later on in a moment when I finish this slide for you. At $30 cheaper, at $219, we have the Ryzen 5 1600. Again, it will be 6 core, 12 threads with a base of 3.2 GHz and a boost of 3.6 GHz. Then on the lower end models of 4 cores, 8 threads for $189, which is amazing value if you ask me, is a Ryzen 5 1500X. It'll feature a base of 3.5 GHz and a boost of 3.7 GHz. It'll also offer 8 MB of L3 cache with, of course, 65 watt TDP. Now, as we move on to the low end budget model pricing area, the R5 1400, which comes at $169, which, if you ask me, it is unbelievable killer value, really. You get 4 cores, 8 threads with a base of 3.2 GHz and a boost of 3.4 GHz. There is one more thing I definitely like to note here, and it comes from AMD executives. They said they will disclose Ryzen 5 performance numbers at a later date after orders for the chip have begun. However, there is one small exception. AMD disclosed that the XFR threshold for the 1400X will be 3.7 GHz. This is 200 MHz higher than the boost speed. AMD's extended frequency range kicks in when the processor is properly cooled. The XFR number is typically only 100 MHz higher than the boost speed or the clock speed that the chip can leap for a short period of time under load. So another thing that this is probably telling me is, which I'll show you in the next slide, is that the 1400X will come with, you'll have to get your own custom aftermarket cooler. That's a good question. Now, as I said to you before, the Ryzen 5 coolers, we have Warth Stealth and the Warth Spire. The Ryzen 5 1400 will have the Stealth, as you can see in the picture. As for the Ryzen 5 16 and the 1500X will come with the Spire. So you can see the two different sizes, 4 core 8 threads versus 6 core 12 threads has a much higher cooler. Now, for the 1600X, and I'm presuming for the 1400X, as I said before, your own custom cooler. Now, keep in mind, this is probably going to hurt a lot of you, so don't get too upset about it. You won't have that beautiful RGB lighting. Only the 7 series family from Ryzen will have that, so you won't be able to use your computer as a Christmas tree light and admire it. Sorry, fellas, I know it sucks a little bit. It pains and it hurts, but hey, you're getting a killer value CPU. What else do you want? You can always put RGB lighting custom made to your computer. And look at the awesomeness. Now, moving on to the actual motherboard chipsets. Now, since Ryzen 5 is more or less a mainstream CPU, AMD and other online sources have said that it's better for users to go for the B350, which I'll have a picture on the screen. It's more or less a mainstream aim for motherboard. So hooking up yourself with a Ryzen 5 with a B350 is probably the best way to go. The only differences between the X370 and a B350 is that the X370 offers multiple GPU support, and maybe just a few little USB 3 generation, USB 3.1 generation inputs will be lesser on a B350. However, you can still overclock your CPU. Although if you do intend to actually want to run multiple GPUs, being everything is AIM4 processor compatible with every AIM4 chipset, you can always go for an X370 Enthusiast with an R5. So there's no limitations there. Just make sure that you know what your requirements are and choose the right system for your setup. Now moving on to the actual AMD that they recently released the video, we have just a couple little snippets here, and I'll show you the video. Thanks to CEO of AMD, Dr. Su, so thank you very much. And we have also the technical marketing, Tony Salina, so if I incorrectly pronounce your name. They were pretty much showcasing a Blender test, which the computer on the right is an R5-1600X, and the one on the left is an i5-7600K. The Blender results came that the R5-1600X finished the task in 32 seconds, while the i5-7600K completes the same task in just under 52 seconds. So that's a 20 seconds difference. 20 seconds. Again, we don't know the timings or the memory speed that were used, but what I can tell you is that having those extra cores and threads does make a huge difference in workstation. Now, moving to our next scenario, we have two computers again, and thanks to Robert Hallock, the technical marketing, he was showing us pretty much a benchmark running F1 2016 at 1080p. We have AMD Ryzen 7 1800X out of the box memory, 2133 MHz stock on the left, and then on the right we have faster memory of 2933 MHz out of the box setting stock. As I said, they were running F1 2016 benchmarks at 1080p, and when they finished the benchmarks, they did find out that there was a delta increase of 16 frames per second, which tells us that faster memory and possibly better timings, I'm presuming, will definitely assist in addressing those performance issues in gaming. Now, quickly addressing as well, news regarding SMT with Windows 10 bug came out that it wasn't really a Windows 10 issue. It was more or less a problem with software and architecture that they need to keep optimizing. So remember how I said in my previous video that I have 300 developers working on optimizing further? Well, time will tell, and I'm pretty sure they will have definitely hit the nail right in the middle. So good luck to them, and hopefully they keep on optimizing that. I'll have another video addressing that as well. So subscribe, follow me for the latest information and updates. Now, as I quickly want to wrap this up, for the final, we have the AMD demo of Overwatch at 1080p with a monitor running at 120 Hertz refresh rate. The right was an AMD R5-1600X, and the left was running an i5-7600K. What I can tell you is that during the actual video that was shown by James Pryor, Business Development Manager at AMD, I can tell you that the R5-1600X was hitting 120 to 130 frames per second, while the i5-7600K was delivering 118 to mid 120s. That's telling me that Ryzen 5 could be neck and neck in gaming performance with its competition or slightly better. So that's very interesting to see. Now, what are my thoughts on about this? Well, I can tell you that I see that AMD is trying to target the mainstream market against the i5 product line. They are offering cheaper prices and good quality hardware, which I believe Intel should listen to their customers in order to compete and start lowering prices. Although what I like about Ryzen, it's possible future that if developers insert more money into utilizing more cores and more threads, it'll make it a very hard time for Intel to compete. We know that Intel i5-7600K is a little bit cheaper. I have it on the screen versus the 1600X. However, as I said before, if more developers utilize more cores and threads, Intel should be very worried, but only time will tell. I hope the video has helped you. Thank you very much for watching, and again, subscribe and follow me for the latest news. Thank you.